that gives you more.
Warming temperatures in the forecast today. We do have the potential for a couple of scattered showers out there, but high temperatures will jump into the upper 40s to lower 50s thanks to a southerly wind developing today. Overnight tonight, rain is likely, and it could be heavy at times with temperatures in the middle to upper 40s. And then Thursday, showers early on, then clearing skies with highs in the 50s. For the North Carolina News Network, I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Currently at the Big Old Country Studios, it's 4:02.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Marge. Hey, what's that?
Oh, that's our new Coyote tractor. John picked it up today. Isn't it beautiful?
Well, yes, but
it's going to help us get all those jobs done around here.
That's great, but...
And with Coyote, we get the industry's best warranty.
Okay, looks great, works hard, the best warranty, but why?
Why is a Coyote tractor in our living room, and why is John snuggled up next to it? He's in love.
Coyote, love your tractor.
Your Coyote dealer is West End Sales, Highway 1827 intersection in Vail.
Attention homeowners. With more buyers than sellers, now is the perfect time to sell your home. For over 25 years, Moss Realty has known there is more to selling your home than placing a sign in the yard. To sell your home in days, even hours, trust the hometown specialist at Moss Realty. Satisfied customers have voted Moss Realty Best of Gaston the last 2 years.
Hi, I'm Warren Moss. When you're buying or selling your home, call the professionals at Moss Realty or visit mossrealty.com. Moss Realty, your hometown specialist.
All right, welcome out to the Best in Sports right here on a Wednesday afternoon. Tim Johnson and Mr. Kenny Link. He is right to the right of me, and the banana head-looking rascal right beside of me to the left. Well, folks, that is not Addison, but Addison is on his way, so he should be here shortly. So he's just getting out of school, Ken, and he's checking in here today. So he will be here live in the studio, just like me and you are here today. And
live and in color.
That's right. Speaking of color, what's that around your eye there, Ken?
Well, you know, I got a little discoloration from an accident I had about a week ago. So.
You didn't backtalk Teresa, did you?
Well, somebody said that she said shut up, and I thought she said stand up, but I don't know.
And somebody got knocked down, like to me.
Yeah.
Folks, if you get a close-up of Kenny's eye, you'll see it's not makeup, folks. It is the real thing. He has a black eye, and Kenny, it's funny. Look at that. Show him a good look at that, Ken. And tell him what happened, Kenny.
You know, you get a little old, sometimes things happen. I wrestled a little bit of upper respiratory, so I wasn't sleeping very well, and I happened to turn over in the bed, fell out in the bed pretty high, and hit the corner of a nightstand.
So let me time out right there. Time out, folks. You sure you and Teresa was not wrestling?
No,
what, none of that?
No, she could have times kicked me out of the bed.
Okay,
snoring,
okay.
But that ain't what happened.
Okay, all right. I'll take your word for it, folks. I believe him. I'm gonna let you. Ken's an honest man. I know him well. Also, folks, today we are dedicating our radio show, the Best in Sports, right here today. On behalf of KTC Broadcasting, our condolences go out to Stephen Marvin Vincent, and we call him Cool Ken. We know Steve very well. Steve has passed away back January the 14th of this past year, folks. What a great man he was, Ken. He is a fat boy. He's part of the Fat Boy Club down at North Lincoln High School. We know those good folks down there, Kerry Miller and all the good guys down there. And I tell you, what a tragedy. Steve passed away on January the 14th. And Ken, you know him. I know him. Kevin Hastings knows him. The whole entire radio station knows him. We love that man. That man's one of a kind, and he is in heaven right now. And I'm sure, I know this for a fact, he's up there getting ready for the rest of the Fat Boys to join him someday, Ken.
Well, those guys in at North Lincoln are a great bunch of guys. And we certainly enjoyed the time we spent in the press box there, and actually enjoyed a meal with them right before the playoff game against Shelby, North Lincoln and Shelby. So our thoughts and prayers goes out to his family. And I understand they had another tragedy with someone that works down there in the press box with them this week as well. We're going to keep all those in our thoughts and prayers.
Especially Jimmy and Melissa Dellinger, their son Ethan. What a tragic, devastating situation happened to their family, to Ethan. And like Ken said, your thoughts and prayers, they're in our hearts and in our minds. And, you know, we love North Lincoln. North Lincoln, without a doubt, Ken, is being nothing but just first class to us. And they've welcomed us with open arms, and so Mr. Steve, Mr. Cool, we call him Cool, Ken. That's what Kerry and them called him. He was cool. He was the best. So our whole entire show is dedicated to the whole entire family, to Michelle, to Holly, to Stephen, and of course Judith, who was married to Stephen for 49 years and had grandkids, Brian, Harley, Brooks, and Davis, and to the whole entire family there of the Vincent family. So, all right, Addison, you finally making it. What's going on, man?
Not much.
You been hanging out? All right. What's that growing around your face there? Kevin, you see that around his face? All right, Kenny, NFL play. How about those L.A. Rams going to New Orleans Saints, Ken, and on the, I guess you say the penalty that did not happen for the Saints and went to overtime and finally beat the Saints in overtime, Ken.
Yeah, what a
shame.
What a game, but what a controversy. And the people in New Orleans, put it mildly, they're more than upset.
Did you watch that, Nelson?
They got billboards up that saying we was robbed. They got the Attorney General filed a lawsuit.
There's a lot of gamblers out there that are open to suing the NFL because of that call.
Yeah, because they lost a lot of money.
And did you know that Roger Goodell, there's a law that's in one of his I think rule books or whatever, that where he could actually play the game, have the game reset.
Really?
Yeah,
he has.
I know you were saying that.
He has the power to do it. He won't do it, but he can
actually have them play the game before the Super Bowl and have that, first and goal, have that all set up right, and where they can actually rerun that, where that penalty was not called, be enforced on that. Give them say they only had 2 minutes left, they could put that back on the clock and make the play.
It's a minute and 48 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if that penalty's called, it's first and goal, and I think maybe they had the Rams one timeout, so they could run that clock down to almost nothing.
Yep.
Before they kicked the field goal, or they may have scored a touchdown, as well. But what I'm saying was, everything would have been on their side as far as clock management and all that kind of thing.
The Rams won 26.
Well, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that. So it went into overtime. And New Orleans won the toss and got the ball back. To the credit of Rams, they got a rush on Bruce, hit him as he threw the ball and got an interception and moved in field position. And their field goal kicker, Clutch, hit a 57-yarder ball game. And give them credit for tying the ball game up in regulation after New Orleans kicked the field goal. The guy hit what, a 47?
Well, Breeze and the Saints got the ball first. Is that correct?
Yeah, they got it.
And he got hit. And the ball was intercepted.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually got a bet on that everybody else was taking the Chiefs and the Saints, and I actually told them, I said, y'all got to take the refs into account. I said when you're playing in the playoffs, you got to take the refs into account. They're not going to make every call. I said that's why I took the Rams and the Patriots, and mainly because I took the Patriots because they get every call almost.
Yeah, and I'm one of the points I want to talk about before we get off the NFL topic today is the officiating and the overtime rules. We're going to talk about both of those. Both of these games went into overtime, and as we saw, I don't think Breeze played his best game, to tell you the truth.
He didn't.
I didn't like the call when they were down there right before the bad call, when they had already had first down, a great field position for a field goal, and he passes on first down. It's incomplete. When I would have said, just run the ball, make them use the timeouts, run the clock way down. And that stopped the clock. And, of course, they ran it one time, and then I think they used one of the timeouts, and then he had the incomplete pass, which the penalty wasn't called on.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the Saints was never the same after they went to Dallas, and Dallas beat them 13-10. They never was the same, and even Breeze wasn't.
I agree with you. He was first of the year, nobody better, but toward the end, he didn't play quite as well.
That game changed the Saints' season, I think.
They didn't play a tough defense all year until they played the Cowboys, and I'm going to be honest with you. They didn't
right.
play.
Well, in the South, nobody had a
well-rounded team.
Right.
They haven't played a well-rounded team until they ran into the Cowboys.
And that's true. I mean, like you said, Breeze had a great year up to that point.
They
shut him down.
Should have lost to the Steelers because
a
big whoopsie do about Juju Smith-Schuster, who when he got tackled, the ball came out. But things happen like that. But Steelers should have won that game. Cowboys beat them. Buccaneers beat them. They should have been a couple losses. I actually think the Rams should have beat them when they played them the first time. I thought the Rams had they played better.
Interesting in both of these games. We'll talk about the AFC in a moment, but New Orleans jumps out, dominating the first half pretty much.
14-0, wasn't it?
Yep. And then AFC, same thing. New England jumps out and dominates, and Kansas City can't score.
Yep.
And it's like, wow.
That's how it was in the beginning of the season when they played the first time. When the Patriots and the Chiefs played the first time, the first half was dominated by the Patriots. In the second half, when they came out, Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and Kareem Hunt took over that game and made it a better game. That's the reason why it was a 43-40 win by the Patriots.
Yeah.
But you saw like every other person did. The Patriots, they know how to control the clock. They ran the clock down the first half, and they controlled the clock in the second half.
Well, they kept the offense. They kept Kansas City's offense off the field. Kept Mahomes off the field.
And
Hill.
Kansas City
you don't want to leave a minute or 2 minutes left on the clock with 3 timeouts with Tom Brady having the ball. You do not.
It's
want
over.
To do that.
Well,
it's over.
Well, it wasn't over because they got the ball back and tied it, but it could have been over. But that's what we're going to talk a little bit about.
I'm talking about in overtime.
I do want to talk about the officiating. I want to get to that.
Get to overtime. We'll talk about that.
Yes, but before we do that, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I don't care what anybody says. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player has ever stepped on the basketball court. And I'm going to tell you right now, Tom Brady is the greatest football player who's ever put on a chin strap and a set of cleats and stepped on the football field.
And you can say that.
And that's a fact.
You can say that because they both of them had the greatest coaches of all time. Phil Jackson.
You think Phil Jackson's the greatest?
Phil Jackson's the greatest.
Riley was pretty good for the Lakers.
Riley was great, but Phil Jackson's a lot better.
He was a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, he was a defensive-minded.
That triangle,
but the triangle
two
offense was probably the best offense that any team's run. When he went to the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, he ran the same offense and had the same success. Not with Shaq and Kobe, with Kobe and Powell. When he had Kobe and Powell and Ron Artest and all them, ran the same offense, had the same success.
Right.
And I agree with some of that. But the reason I say that, they amaze me the preparation and detail the Patriots have to go to know exactly. They came out and they got such a good game plan. You really couldn't do anything to slow them down. They just did whatever they want to.
Let me ask you a question.
And if it wasn't for Brady making a mistake and throwing that interception in the end zone, they couldn't have made it all the way back and got to overtime.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you take Tom Brady and you put him on another football team,
he's like LeBron James. He makes everybody around him better. He's the great one.
But Belichick.
How about Belichick?
Belichick and Brady, if you separate them, they would be lesser than the Suns.
If you separate Belichick and Brady,
so they're 50% great.
Brady would have more.
if you
separate Belichick and Brady, Brady would still have this. He would still have success. He'd have more success than Belichick would because he's actually he's been in the league long enough.
Well,
he sees the defense. He knows what he's going to see.
He actually runs that offense.
Some of those interceptions against
and they would point out there many of those plays. He was checking off and calling exactly the right play.
Whenever he taps his helmet twice, like Romo said, he's going to the second play. He's switching to the second play. And you saw some of those interceptions. Some of those should have been called. It hit their hands. That's got to be called. Some of those I put on the receivers. But Brady, and when it comes to Super Bowl, they're not going to make those mistakes. I was watching this thing whenever they played the Seahawks. Whenever Seahawks were on the 1 yard line, and Belichick throughout practice that week, he saw the pick plays. You know the pick plays where
the guy said he was
they practiced
that. He was expecting that.
They practiced that.
He read it and jumped it and made it. And everybody said, "What a great play." He said, "I saw it. I expected it."
Well, let me tell you something, guys. There's another great coach too who used to practice stuff like that at the end of practice and all season long. He said sometime he said no, not Parcells. The guy from San Francisco, Bill Walsh, who to me,
he's a great coach.
Yes. I think Bill Walsh, Belichick. You can say Tom Landry. You can say Vince Lombardi. That's 4 right there. And you say the guy from Pittsburgh back in the 70s.
What about
Joe Gibbs? I say Joe Gibbs. You can put him in top 5. I mean, guys, Bill Walsh to me when Joe Montana beat the Cowboys when they won the first Super Bowl against Cincinnati Bengals back in I think 80 or 81 when he threw that pass over and Dwight Clark ran over and caught the ball. They practiced that. All the time, and the players couldn't understand why they was doing it. They thought they were just doing it for fun to see if Dwight could jump out high enough to catch the ball.
They would see what
But little things like that win championships.
Well, Belichick's a great coach. If you give him time to prepare, he'll do good. Now, I'm not a great fan of the person Belichick because I think he been a ruled cheeks a little bit. But I'll give him this: he'll do anything in the world to win.
Is that?
I give you that.
You put Belichick in the same boat as Sean Payton, right? Because Sean Payton has cheated as well.
Listen,
Belichick's much better.
Yeah.
Than Sean Payton.
Well,
I'm talking about his cheating. You said
no, they both cheated.
Now think about this, guys.
But Belichick's a greater coach.
Now think about this. I want you to think about this. Where did Belichick and Sean Payton come from? Bill Parcells. Did Bill Parcells, has he ever won a Super Bowl without either one of them? Especially, has he ever won a Super Bowl without Belichick? No. There's your answer right there. No,
but
he has not.
But Belichick, he studies the details, and what amazes me, he figures out how to way to win. When sometimes I'm saying he don't have nothing on defense, but somehow he figures out how to do enough.
He puts his players in position.
Brady running the offense to outscore him.
Yeah, just like you said about the pick play against Seattle.
Yeah, that pick play from Seattle, they literally watched film the week before Super Bowl.
It's a timing
issue. And then when they got into practice, they literally said, look, this receiver is going to try to pick the outside corner. You got to get up on the line of scrimmage, and as soon as that ball snapped, hit him so he can't get to the other corner. That corner is going to read the other wide receiver. When that wide receiver goes in, just jump the route. That's what Malcolm Butler did.
You got to say Chuck Knowles. That's what I'm trying to think of for the Steelers.
Did you see how angry
Chuck Knowles and Terry Bradshaw never got along?
Did you see how angry Belichick was on the big play?
Oh,
the Chiefs ran for a he got some
that clipboard.
He threw that clipboard. But I guarantee he pulled
that was a tablet. That was a Microsoft tablet.
Yes,
I thought it was
and I guarantee he probably was right. He's probably saying right here where it's at, and you know that's a pick. And you know it's a lot of times people get away with, and Belichick's one of the best of pushing it. Get away with it, can, and that's not cheating.
Okay,
that's
guys.
Not cheating there. I'm not saying that.
So Super. Well, we'll pick out next week. Next Wednesday, we'll make our picks, folks. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I got New England, but I'm gonna think about it. I mean, the Rams is a good football team. I mean, you got a great running back, Todd Gurley. I mean, quarterback Goff has had a great year.
I mean,
but
you got a young quarterback
and McVay
and a young coach.
Hey, here's what the NFL wanted, Addison. Here's what they wanted. They wanted McVay, the offensive. They called him a genius. They wanted McVay to go against who?
The greatest coach.
Absolutely. And what is Belichick known for? Defense. He's a genius. So what do you think?
No, you want me to pick him?
I know. What do you think about that? I mean, is that not what looked like the NFL?
Oh, it's a great matchup because you got the young, youngest
coming
coach
genius
ever
that's what they call it.
to coach in a Super Bowl. And the oldest quarterback ever to start in one. I mean, that's what you got.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I think the Patriots will beat them by 10. I don't think it'll be a contest.
Well, we'll talk about it next week.
Ain't no way.
You really?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. He's played 8 Super Bowls. Not one of them's been more than 10 points.
None of the Super Bowls been more than
his 5 wins. The biggest win for Brady is a 6-point only overtime game in NFL history. Every single Super Bowl has been less by 6 points. In fact, Troy Aikman and Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw have all won Super Bowls by more points than Brady has combined in all of his.
Right.
So Brady's barely winning games, and then when he loses games, it's barely losing games because the teams are scoring on the last. But so what is – and Ken, me and you kind of talked a little bit about some gambling conspiracy stuff before the show started a little bit, and Tim just mentioned, what does the NFL want and stuff? Well, let's think about that a minute. When did Belichick first get caught cheating?
Spygate.
Against who?
Against the Jets.
No. St. Louis Rams.
Oh, okay. Well,
in the Super Bowl.
The walkthrough. Yeah.
Now, who are they playing?
The Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams. Yes. Now, Rams got some tickets to sell next year. They got a new stadium coming up. Guess who made the Super Bowl? Next year, not next year, but the next. Yeah. Next year, bet on the Chargers boys because they'll have a new stadium the following year. Okay, they got to sell home tickets.
Hey, you got a point.
They got to sell home field tickets.
Conspiracy theory runs right into that bad no call, right?
Yes, it does. Now let me give you some.
Does that mean Oakland's going next year?
Yeah. What about the Raiders?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Now let me give you some. Let me give you some information. Some legal information. This is for you lawyers out there. So John F. Kennedy, back in the NFL when he first started, he gave them in these other sports the antitrust exemptions. So what that's led up to, led up into two Spygate and the Rams that some fans and teams and everybody sued about the spying and everything. Well, in the NFL's actual arguments, guys, their lawyer stood up in front of the world, and the NFL argued that they are not 32 teams competing against each other. They are one entity. They are a sports entertainment industry, just like the WWE. Those are the exact words from the lawyer. I didn't make that up. I didn't interpret that. So the NFL argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court that they are the WWE. They argued that they can arrange and fix games any way they want. They did this in front of the court. This is public. They can do this. Look on the back of your tickets. It says you cannot sue over the event and all this other stuff because they're entertainment industry. They have no legal recourse, none, to give you a football game where the two teams it's fair play and everything's fair and somebody wins. They have no reason and they don't have to do it. So
well, can't they just rig it where my Cowboys can go to Super Bowl one more time?
Hold on.
So it's not in the car.
All right. So last year, an NFL lawyer came out after the Super Bowl. This is an NFL lawyer, right, guys? I'm going to read you the headline. NFL lawyer who claimed the Super Bowl is rigged, shot dead 2 days after the Super Bowl.
Look, wow.
Wow. I didn't hear that.
After the Super Bowl.
Wow.
This guy came out and said it's rigged just like WWE. You guys won't believe it. I know it because I help write them. I help do all this stuff. I write the scripts. And there's an article right here. You can read about it all. Okay, this guy and his friend was killed in a car in New York.
There's an NFL assassinator in your house when you get home.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Be careful. Look in your closet.
All right, Kenny Addison, before we go to a commercial break, bad officiating. The NFL has two issues that need to be addressed this offseason, and it is bad officiating. And I'm going to tell you, I've said this and said this and said this, and me and Ken talked about this the other day, and I think I might have mentioned it to Kevin and to you, Addison. Listen, guys, you got 20-year-old guys out there up to maybe the age of 28, 29 years old in their prime, running 4.3, 4.5, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, running backs, wide receivers. And I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot take, and this is nothing toward, I'll be 50 years old next week. So at 60, I could not keep up running. I don't care how good a shape you in. They need young officials on the football field.
Well, that's one issue. The other issue is they need competent officials to call what they see. That no call, you had official in front of the play and behind it. Both of them looked directly at it and refused to throw a flag.
They got to sell tickets.
Exactly. Exactly. That gets back to what Kevin's saying.
Now, what about this?
I think the referees have a play in it.
I agree. Yes, they control the game. I agree with you.
We've only had 5 Super Bowls in the last 18 years that were more than 10 points. Now, the previous 30, what was the problem everybody complained about, guys?
Bad officiating.
Well, no, about the Super Bowls. There were always a blowout.
Oh, yeah, blowout.
Do you not remember that back in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
That was the big
Cowboys,
discussion.
49ers,
and then all of a sudden.
That's what I was going to get to, because Tom Brady, if you look at every one of the games, I bet there's the games he's playing in Super Bowl, they're the most watched games because everybody knows it's going to be a close game.
All right, if you're an advertiser and you bought a fourth quarter ad, do you want to blow out?
No, absolutely not.
Think about those games this weekend. All those games jumped out to 15, 20-point leads, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady was down 28-3 and 1, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, what did that tell you?
He's
listen,
the man.
when the league.
I don't care. He's the man.
I hate to say it, I love football. A lot of in America does.
He's the greatest NFL entertainer of all time.
And people don't want to admit when things might not be as they seem, and the things they love might be corrupt. But you know, the NBA went through this, and when we all figured it out. And the thing about Tim about the referees, I think in basketball, why is there not a fourth referee? And in the NFL, you can add a couple during the playoffs. Everybody's off.
I agree with you too, but I'm asking you something, Kevin. How many older referees you see in the NBA? Not a lot. Most of them
they're not. And I will say this:
they used to be. They got rid of a lot of them.
I will say this
though: how many girl referees do you see in the NFL?
What?
How many girl referees do you see in the NFL?
None.
Okay. How many girl referees do you see in the NBA? There's a couple.
Really?
There's one girl in the NFL. There's 2 in the NBA.
Well, coach-wise,
yeah.
No, refs.
Refs.
There's one girl ref in the NFL and 2 in the NBA.
Yes,
you
I
never
remember
see the camera on her.
Is she the one that didn't make the call?
She made that call. That was her call. She blew that.
I just assumed that. I mean, you know, it's a wonder that all that. Not a lot of controversy.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I ump baseball, and I've been doing it for a long time. Addison, and Addison's a great umpire, Ken.
I've done baseball and basketball, Tim. Before you get that, let me ask you a question. Then you can go on about all that because I really want to ask you about umpiring. One of the things I didn't like about it, and I'll be honest, baseball and basketball both, is the fans.
Yeah.
Oh,
You go to the field loving baseball. You go to the field loving kids.
Absolutely.
And then, but when you leave, you hate your job because dad in the first row who would rather yell at you than tell his kid how to shoot. So you know what I mean? Like I'll see some guy's kid miss 5 shots and he'll yell at me for missing a foul. Well, your kid's 0 for 5.
Yeah.
Or you missed a strike. Look like it's an umpire in a baseball call. If they get mad at you on strike 3, well, what happened to the first 2 strikes? He could have swung at those.
So all you had to say to him was, look, if I make the foul call and he goes to the free throw line, he's going to miss him. So what does it matter?
yeah. That'll make him happy.
I'm telling you something.
But the fans is what got me in the younger generation. We're not you. Who goes to work and what other job can you go to work, and then people walk up to you 5 feet away from you and just yell at you and call you names and tell you how awful you are? I don't know of another job.
And the thing about it, Kevin, it's not the participants, it's the parents, it's adults.
Yeah.
It's not the kids. It's not the kids that much.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I umpire. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've never had an issue with anybody. I mean, I'm not saying that there's people who disagree with my calls and stuff, but Addison, I tell you, me and Addison umpire all the time together. Alex started first, and I got Addison in it, and they're really good umpires. I'm telling you, they could both umpire probably collegiate, no doubt about it, college baseball, and probably if they wanted to, probably could go on to the next level. But I tell you right now, guys, umpires and officials, they control the game. I mean, a strike. Listen, in baseball, everything is people ask me all the time, is a strike or a ball? It's an inch. You're out by inch. It's a strike by inch. I mean, it's just right there.
Yeah, and nobody understands when your kid goes down to 0-2 that the strike zone widens.
Absolutely,
he's supposed to start swinging.
He better start swinging.
If he's not swinging if he's not swinging at the first 2 strikes, then I'm definitely going to get him out on the third one.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's not going to get 3 or 4,
and
5,
I think
6,
most
7
people,
chances.
most fans want consistency, and that's why I don't see in NFL. I don't see consistency.
And
I don't see any at all. That's why I'm going to say I don't see any.
And it's the players will tell you. When you get to playoffs, it's tighter. It's not. They let things go. They don't call it as tighter. Well, if you're going to do that, where's the point that this is okay and that's not okay? And that's where you get to what we had Sunday. Two referees standing there looking at play, and neither one of them throwing a flag on an obvious call.
Well,
guys,
and another thing goes into this is when going back to reffing and stuff and umpiring. Not all your kids are winners. If your kid doesn't go out there and do the things that's got to be done to win, he's not going to get a participation grade. He's not going to get a pat on the back. This is not. Today's errors. Everybody gets a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th place, and they get a trophy. They want to be patted on the back. Said they did a good job when they struck out 3 times in one game.
We're going to go to a commercial break.
Hold on, Tim. Before you do,
go ahead.
A quick few more comments on the consistency that Ken's talking about with the refereeing and what the NFL thing. The 2 things that I have the most problems with. One, the roughing the quarterback pass penalties. They're so random. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, you could hit Brady on the shoulder and get hit in the helmet.
And I used to talk, and I know Tim. Tim, do you remember? Can you name one time? I can probably name more times I saw Romo get hit in the face that weren't called. That he never got called, like one of those face. When they brought that new rule in, you couldn't even touch it. He got hit a lot and never caught it. And I'm just bringing this Romo. We talk Cam Newton getting the rough on the passer calls. They actually have a website with this stat on it. I looked up yesterday. I was talking to some other people about it. The most roughing the passer calls on all the quarterbacks in the NFL since 2009. Number 1 is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's got the most roughing calls.
Really?
I would never think it.
Cam is 3rd. Cam's got the 3rd most roughing calls on him. Cam averages a quarter of a roughing call per game. So every 4 games he gets a roughing call.
And they missed 2 of them.
So put it this way. So Cam has had 30 calls. Cam's got 30 roughing the passer calls since 2009. Fitzpatrick had 40.
He wasn't even in the league in 2009.
Romo had 7 in his career.
Romo got killed.
7 roughing the passer calls in his career at a .08 rate.
Yeah, but
Cam's is .23. That's 3 times higher at rate per game.
When did they start? When did the rule really start? Like when did
Roughing passer's been around forever. It's changed different things.
Really lock down and like start calling it. When was
They've always called it, but what they've done, Addison, they've changed.
Modified.
So at first I hit you in the chest. That's they change where you can hit them every year, and that's what changes. It's always been a roughing the passer call. Now this is what I'm gonna get into before I got to go. My biggest pet peeve of football is the pass interference calls. Remember with Tim when you played, the only call on DBs was pass interference if the ball's in the air.
Sure.
You can push, you can hold, you can do whatever you want until the ball's in the air, and then it's pass interference. That's the simplest thing of all time. It is so easy for a DB to do. Now, what are the rules now? There's illegal contact downfield past 5 yards. There's holding, and then there's interference. So there's 3 different ways, and then face guarding. There's like 9 different rules for the face guarding rule,
I agree with you.
which all of that can be
too complicated.
I like the spot fouls on pass interference. So if you foul somebody 29 yards, you get 29 yards. What I can't stand is when it's 3rd and 25 and they call an illegal contact downfield, which is 5 yards and an automatic first. That's the dumbest thing. And when they did that, Mr. Conspiracy Theory came into, they can call that play anytime.
Yeah, they can.
That's like a holding call.
They
you can
control
call
the game.
Now, how many times if illegal contact downfield is 5 yards an automatic penalty, and you don't want to call pass interference, how many times in the playoffs have we seen receivers getting touched downfield?
A whole bunch.
And they're not calling anything consistent. And I hate, as a DB who had to play the position, first then you take that away, and then you say, well, now when the receiver catches it, I can't hit him hard.
You're right. Yep.
So what are DBs supposed to do? It's so hard for DBs now, and that's my last point.
Wide receivers are divas.
Yep.
All right, folks, we're going to go to a commercial break. Before we do that, we're going to have a moment of silence for Mr. Steven, Marvin Vincent, Cool, and we'll be right back after these fine messages right here on KTC Broadcast.
Hometown proud.
The only station I listen to.
Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, WCSL Cherryville.
We're here because your mother doesn't trust anyone else. Your daughter just got her license. Your son needs a dependable car for school. Or maybe you just appreciate honesty, which is exactly what you get at Classic Ford of Shelby. Whether shopping for one of our 200 new Fords in stock or one of our quality pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $3,000, you get honest service at a hometown price. Welcome to our family. Classic Ford of Shelby, the hometown store that gives you more.
James Wholesale Mulch Yard is now open on Highway 150 West between Cherryville and Waco beside Southern States. Open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and on Sunday by appointment. You'll find mulch, gravel, straw, trees, pine needles, and more. Plus, James Wholesale Mulch delivers and installs by request. Call 704-884-1142 for details or directions, or look us up on MapQuest for directions. And call James Tree Service for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and all bucket truck needs. We have 23 years experience and rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call us today at 704-884-1142. We take special orders for shrubs, trees, and more, and we accept credit cards. James Wholesale Mulch Yard and Tree Service. For 9 straight years, Ewing Insurance Agency in Gastonia has been voted the #1 insurance agency in the county. There's got to be a reason why. Ewing Insurance Agency features over 75 years of combined experience. Whether you're looking for a review of your auto or homeowner's insurance or seeking a customized business insurance package, the team at Ewing Insurance Agency is ready to tailor a plan that's right for you. Drop by their office at 1548 Union Road, Suite C in Gastonia. Visit their website at insuregaston.com. That's Ewing Insurance Agency.
The public inspection files of WHS, WLON, and WCSL are located at the studios at 1416 Shelby Highway in Cherryville. WHS, WCSL, and WLON are owned and operated by KTC Broadcasting Incorporated. WHS, WCSL, WLON do not discriminate against any qualified applicant regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, age, or sex. For more information, you may call 704-482-1390 or email us at info@ktcbroadcasting.com. WHS Shelby, WLON Lincolnton, WCSL Cherryville, Gastonia.
Head to Oak Grove Auto Sales for some great deals, like a 2013 Ford Edge Limited, only 61,000 miles. Leather and EcoBoost Turbo for $15,495. Or how about a 2007 Cadillac Escalade, loaded with options, including power running board for $15,495. and a 1998 Chevy Corvette is an American legend for $16,995. Oak Grove Auto Sales, 522 Oak Grove Road, Kings Mountain, online at oakgroveauto.com.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her walk miles a day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
Free classifieds at every edition of the What's Up Shopper, covering Cleveland, Lincoln, and Gaston counties. Place your free classified ad today in this week's What's Up Shopper.
We are back here live at the Best in Sports right here on KTC Broadcasting, WCSL 1590 on your AM dial, and of course on the FM dial. You can catch us at 92.3. Addison Johnson, Kenny Link, Mr. Baseball himself, and Tim Johnson. We are live here today, and we're going to be here until about the 5 o'clock hour, and we'll be bringing you all the best in sports. And how about some college basketball there, Kenny?
Well, Tennessee is the new #1 team in the country this week. Duke Blue Devils #2. Duke, who actually beat Virginia this week, gave them their first loss. Virginia comes in at #3. Gonzaga #4, Michigan #5, Michigan State #6, Nevada #7, Kentucky #8, Kansas #9, Virginia Tech #10. Others in the ACC, UNC 11, who beat Virginia Tech pretty handily the other night, so they'll probably head back in the top 10. Your NC State Wolfpack #21.
I saw that they dropped a little bit.
Florida State #23.
So NC State dropped from what, 15 to 21? Is that right, or 17, something like that? 21.
Yeah, 21 now. If you look at ACC standings, a lot of teams up toward the top. You got Virginia, Duke, and Carolina, all 5-1 in the conference. Louisville and Syracuse 4-1. Virginia Tech 4-2. Your Wolfpack 3-2, and then after that, everybody else. You got 15 teams, it's in the conference nowadays. So that's the way it looks now. The Heels with a big win over Virginia Tech Monday night, and Nasir Little, the freshman that they've been waiting to explode, had a great game, had 23 points. The other freshman, Kobe White, had 27, and they led the Tar Heels, got the fast break going, put over 100 on the board, got free Bojangle biscuits, all that kind of stuff.
You excited?
Oh, yeah.
Excited, ain't you, kid?
They look like my Tar Heels,
I watched a little bit of that game. Yeah, they shot the lights out. No
well,
doubt
they
about
started
that.
out, couldn't hit the ball. They were 1 out of 12 on 3-pointers to start the game. And then they hit 15 out of the next 18. I mean,
wow.
It's like they couldn't hit, and then all of a sudden they lit it up.
How's Luke May doing?
He had 14 points, hit 4 out of 5 from 3-point. Had a good many assists, played well. By the way, I saw last night they retired his jersey at Huff High School last night. He was on hand, and he spoke, and he said he thanked everybody, and it was an honor for that to happen, and he thanked everybody along the way that been part of his helping him and his success. Just a outstanding guy, and he comes across that way in the media and everything.
Yeah, he's a great guy, no doubt about that. Yeah, Mr. Luke May, North Carolina Tar Heels. Addison, give us a little bit of basketball news there in the ACC basketball standings. And let me ask you a question. Is Michigan, what are they? Michigan's what, number three in the country?
They're number 5 now.
Number 5 now?
They were undefeated, but Wisconsin, they played terrible this week over the weekend, and Wisconsin beat them.
Yeah.
And they looked so bad. I thought they'd be right up there at number 2 or something. They dropped it all the way down to number 5.
Yeah. So what's your take on that?
ACC standings, we got Virginia and the ACC 5-1, 17-1 overall. You got Duke 5-1, 16-2 overall. UNC 5-1, 15-4 overall.
So let me ask you a question. Who's the best team in the ACC, Addison, right now? Right now, is it Duke or Virginia? I know Duke beat Virginia, so you got to get. Is it? I mean, Duke beat them without their.
If I had to pick a team,
it was in
number 1.
It was in Cameron.
If I got to pick a team right now, it'd be Duke.
72-70, wasn't it, Kenny?
They just got so much talent on that team. And even with Trey Jones hurt, they're still doing really good. But
how deep can Duke go in the NCAA?
About deep as they've gone the last couple of years. Not very deep.
You think so?
I think they might. I think they go to the
Sweet 16.
I think
Final eight.
They go to the Final Eight.
I think they'll scratch the Elite Eight. I think they'll make it to the Elite Eight.
You don't think they'll make the Final Four?
I don't think they'll make it to Final Four. I'm gonna tell you one of their problems, and you wouldn't think this with Duke. 3-point shooting. They have not shot well this year. That's why they lost to Syracuse. They only hit like 20-some% of 3-pointers and shot a boatload of them. Syracuse plays that zone.
So they score a lot of points in the paint then.
They love to drive.
They were making Duke shoot the 3-point shot.
And last night they only beat Pittsburgh by 15. And the reason Pittsburgh's not very good, but again, Pittsburgh, they got some dunks and stuff, but Pittsburgh made them take a lot of threes, and they didn't hit them that well.
Who's your team in the ACC that you think could possibly make a run that you see, Ken?
UNC.
I think UNC make a run.
Virginia,
I think, can make a run. I think they're embarrassed about what happened last year when they got in the NCAA. I think they have a better team this year. I think they'll make a run.
How about my Wolfpack?
No.
I don't think so.
It's not going to win.
How about Syracuse?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Louisville's
I was going to say Louisville.
Some people, but we'll see. I haven't seen enough of them yet.
I got right now for the top 3 teams in the ACC. I got Duke number 1 is my number 1 pick, and then I got UNC, and then I got Virginia. I don't think Virginia's better than UNC. I think whenever later on in the season when UNC's team starts to click together, get their rhythm, I think they will. You'll see them.
Now, everybody knows Carolina when they got a good shooting team. Sometimes they just get out there and they can't hit. When they get popping them threes out there, they got a bunch of guys that can shoot them.
You got to remember UNC put a good butt whooping on Gonzaga.
They did,
and that goes very unnoticed when you look at the standings.
And that was an up and down game where they shot the ball really well. Well, if they shoot the ball, and I tell you what, they against Virginia Tech.
So if they shoot the ball well, you're saying they can play.
Yeah, and at Virginia Tech, they played the better.
I'm not happy with what Roy Williams is doing. I think he needs to leave his players in and let them just work it out.
Yeah. Well, Ken said that from day one.
Keeps taking them out. They're not getting the rhythm. If something goes bad, don't call a timeout. Let them play it out.
Well,
save your timeouts for the last 2 minutes.
One thing I liked in the game against Virginia Tech, he had Little and White in there together at the same time for a good while, and man, they clicked.
Leave them in. Let them build chemistry.
That's when late in the first half they went on a 20-0 run, and it was all Little and White in the middle of everything.
They need to build chemistry together because at the end of the season, or at the end of near the March Madness tournament, it's going to come down to them two leading the team. Them and Luke.
All right, guys. Major League Baseball. 4 players were voted into the Hall of Fame yesterday. Mariano Rivera, of course, probably the greatest closer of all time. Roy Halladay, who was tragically killed a year ago, I think, or maybe a couple years ago.
2017.
Yeah, 2017. Great pitcher. Remember him with the Philadelphia Phillies and also with the
Blue Jays.
Oh, Blue Jays, Toronto Blue Jays. That's correct.
Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, Edgar Martinez, was an excellent baseball player, and Mike Mussina, Ken, for the Baltimore Orioles. Remember Mussina played for the Yankees too.
Yeah, and Rivera, guess this, made history.
What did he do?
The only player ever to be elected in the
Unanimous.
Hall of Fame on the first ballot, 100% of the votes. Unanimously.
How about Jeter?
No. Jeter he won't be eligible till next year or year next.
Jeter will get that.
I don't think so.
You don't think Jeter will?
I don't think he'll get the same
man.
Well, let's put it this way. The one that was closest to being unanimous before this was Ken Griffey.
Ken Griffey, yeah.
And 3 people didn't vote for him. You got 425 riders. Mm-hmm. And you don't know how they got to vote. It's amazing that everybody. I mean, obviously everybody should have voted for Rivera.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the undisputed greatest closer in the
absolutely.
game.
But is Jeter the greatest shortstop ever?
No, but he's.
No, you're exactly right.
I mean, but listen, look at the package that he brought.
Yes, you can say that, but
the package.
He's not the greatest shortstop of all time.
Well, I tell you right now, he was probably Mr. October. I mean, people say Reggie Jackson, but he was Mr. October.
Well, no doubt he deserves
you got to
to be Hall of Fame.
understand, Babe Ruth.
But
there's a lot of players that were not unanimously.
Yeah, Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous.
Yeah,
now, there's a lot of people that like him.
Should have been.
Yeah. Now, Lou Gehrig,
I mean,
But 75 years they've been
Cal
voting.
Ripken.
75 years, and this is the first time we got a unanimous vote for anybody.
Oh, wow. Well, I knew that.
Ty Cobb wasn't unanimous.
No.
Well, hardly nobody liked him.
I mean, he was great. He was great.
Now, to get in, you have to get. The way this works is each rider's got to vote for 10 candidates on the big list.
Yeah,
okay. And you got to make at least 75% of the ballots to get in.
Yeah.
So you got a long list, and these are only 4 that were 75 or above.
Yeah.
Rivera, 19 years, 13 All-Star appearances,
Mike
5
Messino,
World Series.
Mike Messino barely scratched his way in, didn't he?
Yeah, he barely did.
You know, Ken, one thing I didn't know about Rivera, that he was from Panama. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was from Puerto Rico.
No, he's from
That's what I
Panama.
thought. Panama.
Rod Carews on the other Hall of Famer.
Saw him
and
play
the amazing
a
thing
lot.
about it, he did it with one pitch.
Cutter.
The cutter.
Someone, let's talk to him last night on Major League Baseball, and they asked him, said, did you ever think about using another pitch? He said, well, I played around with the changeup in spring training. He said, I figured if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
That's the way it one pitch. It's amazing.
He was the one that basically, came up with the pitch, the cutter. He's the one that,
and he had pinpoint control with it. And the other thing they talked about is how his humility. He is a man of faith.
Oh yeah, he is.
Very humble.
Very
they said
very prideful.
John Smoltz said he always liked the way he finished the game, slowly walked, shake the catcher's hand, no dramatics, just did his job.
He respected the game.
Respected the game, and he said he always respected.
He played the game the right way.
He did.
Like
and the other thing is, he's the last player to wear number 42 before they retired it for Jackie Robinson.
Wow,
he's the last one to wear.
How about that?
So there you go.
Folks, we're going to a quick commercial. We'll be back with some more Major League Baseball Hall of Fame and some more sports right here on the Best in Sports.
Live and uniquely local.
It's a community station.
Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM. WCSL Cherryville.
Country Countdown USA.
I'm Lon Helton, inviting you to join me as I count down the week's top 30 with my co-host Thomas Rhett, who explains what it means to be a sneakerhead.
The very first pair of shoes that I ever bought with my own money were the Nike Air Max Ken Griffey Jr. edition. If I could find those today in my size, I'd probably be done shoe shopping.
That's Thomas Rhett this week on Country Countdown USA.
Country Countdown USA with Lon Helton, Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country, 1590 AM and 92.3 FM, WCSL. Online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Sloan Fortenberry is back, and it's your feed in downtown Cherryville. Call now and get your name on the books for a pedicure. Just call Sloan at 704-460-8669, or talk with Tammy at 704-308-8809, or Betty at 704-297-5197. It's Your Feet does pedicures, manicures, and you'll feel like you're walking on a cloud when you leave. And they specialize in care for the disabled, those in wheelchairs, or with walkers. It's Your Feet in the Pink Building on Main Street, downtown Cherryville.
It's game day. The energy pulsates through the arena. Adrenaline pumps. Tension heightens. Anticipation peaks. The crowd rises. It's finally time. The whistle blows and the ball goes up. Don't blink.
Pulls up for the tie. Yes, sir. 4.1 to go.
Game day lives here on the Tar Heel Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
The votes are in, and it's a clean sweep for Carter Chevrolet of Shelby. Voted #1 new car dealer in Shelby. Voted #1 used car dealer in Shelby. Voted #1 service department. Voted best sales staff, plus the highest customer satisfaction. Come in and find out why, for over 50 years, they have been serving our area with 3 generations of Carters. Family owned, family operated. Carter Chevrolet, 200 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at carterchev.com. If you want it sold, put it on the Carter Chevrolet Swap Shop with Milton Baker. Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 10, right here on Big O Country and ktcbroadcasting.com.
Okay, folks, we're back here on Best in Sports. Been talking a little Major League Baseball as we're talking about some of the Hall of Fame newly elected members with the results coming in yesterday. We talked about Mariano Rivera, who was a unanimous choice. Other choices, Roy Halladay, who was killed in a plane crash, unfortunately, in 2017 at the age of 40. He received 85% of the riders' votes. He had a 16-year career, 12 with Toronto, 4 with the Phillies. He won 203 games, had 67 complete games, the most by far of any pitcher since the year 2000. I mean, Roy Halladay would pitch you a complete game, even during this era when you didn't pitch complete games anymore. He had 20 career shutouts, and he was a Cy Young winner in both the American League and National League. And in 2010, pitched a perfect game in May, and then made it to the postseason against the Reds in his first postseason appearance. Pitched a no-hitter, the only no-hitter in postseason play besides Don Larson's perfect game. And he did win the Cy Young.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what a great year he had. Between 2001 and 2010, he was as good as any pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, he was dominant, no doubt about that. Absolutely.
Edwin Martinez, we was talking about you can be eligible for 10th year. Guess what? Edgar got 85% of the votes, but this was his 10th year. This was last year he had a chance of getting in, and he made it.
I love watching. He could hit, Ken. That guy could rip the baseball. I remember when he came up with the Seattle Mariners, and man, I tell you, they had him, Alex Rodriguez, had him, and they had the guy that played second base that left there, went to the Yankees. He couldn't throw it. Remember? Knobloch, Chuck Knobloch. Yep.
Yeah. And he had a career batting average of 318, played 18 years. Mike Messina, in his 6th year, he barely made it in, but he made it in. He got 76.7% of the riders' votes. Had an 18-year career, winning 270 games and striking out 2,800. That's pretty impressive. Stats, 270 games.
Did he win in World Series with the Yankees?
I
know he went to a World Series.
I went to it. I don't know. One thing he did, he had a lot of near perfect games and near no hitters, but never actually pitched a no hitter in the major leagues. But
you know, Addison was talking about are there any players right now playing that's possibly first ballot Hall of Famer? Addison, I think you're right about Ichiro.
I think Ichiro,
no doubt about it.
And I don't. How long has he been retired? When is he eligible?
It'd be still a couple more years.
Couple more years.
Yeah, he played what 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Marlins.
Got to be 5 years until you can do it. Some of the other votes that did make it in, Kurt Schilling, in his 6th year this year, 61% of the votes.
Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds.
Roger Clemens, 59%. Barry Bonds, 59%. And Larry Walker, 54%. The thing about Clemens and Bonds, they'll probably never get much higher percentage than what they got.
They'll probably never get in.
And they won't get in. And they won't get in. They'll never get to 75% is my prediction. Now, Schilling, he's his, 7th year, so he got a few more years. He's liable to make it in. The other ones, they ain't going to make it.
Let's talk about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer before
the steroids.
He did steroids. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. But these riders, now they look at on-field performance, also character, integrity, and that's where they ain't going to vote him in.
He was not a likable person.
Some people will like you. They'll vote for him.
Yeah.
But there's a certain block they'll never vote for.
Yeah, he was. I'm telling you right now, you know, I mean, could you put him in the same category as Pete Rose, Ken?
Yeah.
Those Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds.
Both are deserving, but with their play on
players.
the field to be a Hall of Famers. There's no doubt about that.
Pete Rose was his antics off the field. What he did,
gambling and stuff. Yeah. So let me ask you a question, Ken. You're a baseball historian. You eat, sleep, breathe baseball. Pete Rose, should he be in the Hall of Fame? I've always said, as a player,
he should have.
As a player, they should put him in.
And I'm sure there's other players that did the things he did. He's just the one that got caught because of his his high sociability. He was a very big well-known person in the MLB, and I'm sure there's other players.
He was a good coach.
Here's the thing about it, Addison. A lot of this stuff was after he became a player.
Yeah.
So as a player, I think he ought to go in. Yeah, you might say, I got questions about his character afterward when he was manager, but as a player,
if he gambled as a player, no, he should never. but as a coach, Ken, I mean, unless they know something we don't know, they're just not, you know.
Well, see, I wouldn't interpret that what he had to do afterwards. It says you're eligible 5 years after the last year you're active as a player, and you can still be associated with baseball after that. That doesn't affect eligibility. Well, I think it shouldn't affect.
It all comes down
what you vote on as he has his performance as a player.
It all comes down on how he handled the situation, Ken.
Well, I know that. I mean, we all know why he's not there.
Yes.
I know. We all know.
But
why
as
he's
a
not
player, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds, to me, and darn if I do, darn if I don't, I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame too. That son of a gun. I'm gonna tell you something right now,
Barry
guys.
Bonds should not be in the Hall of Fame for this only reason: he took drugs to help him succeed on the field.
Well, he
took drugs to help him succeed on the field. Before, then yes, you could say it, but he took drugs that helped him to succeed on the field. That's the same thing as A-Rod.
Well,
you got to put.
I'm not an A-Rod fan. I never have been.
I'm just saying you got to put A-Rod and Barry Bonds in the same boat.
Here's the thing. Like you said, he took stuff to enhance his performance.
He did.
When did he start taking them? Well, we don't really know, do we?
We don't.
During that long career, we don't really know.
Well, that's like Mark McGwire.
We don't really know.
I'm going to tell you something, guys. Addison, it's hard to hit a baseball coming in there at 99.
You got a round object trying to hit another round object. You got to hit it perfectly.
You got, yeah. And I'm
going
to tell you something. I've always said could hit it perfectly.
I've always said
he could, but he used other things to help him hit it a little bit farther than everybody else.
That's the hardest thing to do in sports.
No, hit the golf ball pretty hard.
Well, what I'm saying, but there's nobody trying to make that golf ball do tricks while you try to hit it.
Yeah,
like the pitchers do,
Yeah. Have you ever hit a golf ball before, Kenny?
Yeah, I have.
Now I'm gonna tell you something.
Sitting still.
That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I can hit it off the tee. I can hit any baseball perfectly off the tee. But if you throw a little curve into it, I might not be hitting it perfectly.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Roger Clemens, I don't know. I just don't know about Roger Clemens.
Well, Clemens lied about stuff too. He did.
But I just don't know about Clemens. But was he a great pitcher? Absolutely.
No,
he was a warrior. You know what I'm saying? But Bonds, guys, I'm gonna tell you right now. I have never seen a baseball player. I have never seen a baseball player to today that could hit like Barry Bonds.
Well,
to me, Hank Aaron, to me, Barry Bonds, Ted Williams is the three greatest hitters of all time.
Yeah, but two of those didn't cheat.
No, you're right.
No, that's the way I look at it.
Well, I agree with you. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you what.
Should Mark McGwire be in the Hall of Fame?
No. God, no.
Why?
He can't listen. Mark McGwire was good. He wasn't even better than good. No, Mark McGwire should not be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what that home run thing.
All-time single-season home run king. That tells a lot of things.
No.
Well, that's one thing, but it's like you
Barry
say.
Bonds did the same drugs he did, and he smoked him.
But there's a reason they said you got to have 10 years. That way they can look over what happened to all those 10. So.
Well, Barry Bonds was not a good clubhouse person. I mean, even his teammates and stuff like that said that. He, it just. Well, no, he was beyond a diva.
But I'll say this: the four that's going in with this vote, great guys, great character, very deserving, no doubt about it.
All righty, folks, that's the best in sports right here today on a Wednesday afternoon. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys here next Wednesday. Have a great, great weekend, and God bless everybody. And Kenny, have a good weekend, buddy. Well, I'll see you Friday night.
See you Friday night, and I'll try to stay safe. See you guys.
Live and uniquely local.
It's a community station.
Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, WCSL Cherryville.
We're here because your mother doesn't trust anyone else. Your daughter just got her license. Your son needs a dependable car for school. Or maybe you just appreciate honesty, which is exactly what you get at Classic Ford of Shelby. Whether shopping for one of our 200 new Fords in stock or one of our quality pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $3,000, you get honest service at a hometown price. Welcome to our family. Classic Ford of Shelby, the hometown store that gives you more.
Okay, now's the time to buy your new Kia. That's right, your new Kia is waiting for you at Ronaldo Kia at Ronaldo Auto Mall in Shelby. Right now, you can buy a brand new Kia for only $14,988. That's right, only $14,988. And you say, oh yeah, there's only one left on the lot. Not at Ronaldo Kia. How about 30 to choose from? All with full warranties, only $14,988 for your new Kia from Ronaldo Kia at Ronaldo Auto Mall, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Online at RonaldoAutomall.com. There's no one like you. And Pandora Jewelry is opening up all kinds of possibilities to show that to the world with the new open.
Trump's State of the Union address until the government is fully reopened. The California Democrat telling Trump in a letter the Democratic-controlled House will not pass the required measure for him to give the nationally televised speech from the House floor. Pelosi acted just hours after Trump notified her that he was planning to deliver that speech next Tuesday in line with her original invitation. Meanwhile, GOP leaders at the General Assembly inviting the president to come on down and give an address in Raleigh. Meredith College political science professor David McLennan tells WTBD he was surprised by that invitation from State House Speaker Tim Moore.
I'd say it's very slim, 1 in 10 maybe.